record button, and then I say, "Yo, what up?"
Yo, what up, man? How's it going?
It's going really, really good. Thank you for the support on Patreon so that we
Of
can
course.
doctor your super sweet deck. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
oh my goodness, I just realized this is not Mineta 1.
Yeah, it's
This
Mineta
is
too.
Mineta 2. Okay. So
Yes.
so hit me with the elevator pitch for your super sweet Mineta deck.
All right. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm cooking up. And now it might be a pipe dream.
Mm-hmm.
Probably is, but so what I'm thinking is obviously we have the ability to pull a foundation from their staging area into their card pool, right?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, if we play them on water, we have access to like Tongue Whip, the DLC attack. Obviously, like Sticky Balls puts cards in their. Sorry, Eat My Sticky Balls rather, because there's a card called Sticky Balls. Puts cards in their card pool, or they have to block. So either way, a card's going there.
Right.
Sticky Ball Toss Tackles, a card that really doesn't see play. To be honest, it's kind of crap. But I was thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like if we're putting a ton of cards in their card pool anyway, maybe we'll see some value out of it. And then I realized like Creepy Realization is a really good offensive and defensive card as well. And then on the offensive end, right? Like if we have multiple of these being able to give +1, and then we have Sticky Boss Tackle to get +1 as well. Putting cards in their card pool is effectively like +1 speed, right? So I'm just thinking like, hold on, we can do some things. Now, the downside is I don't know how we kill people with this deck. And then also being a 5-hand size. So that's kind of my elevator pitch. That's the idea that I'm thinking. Don't know where to shape it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna skip around a bit,
Sure.
and we will talk about creepy realization because you are right on the money with creepy realization. If on a scale of 1 to coordinated effort of cards being banned, I think this
Right.
card is closer to coordinated effort than it is to 1.
Really?
I think that this card has the potential with how set 2 is looking, with things like
Mm.
Mineta, with things like the Sarah attack,
Zero.
if we get too much more card pool stuffing, this card is going to be a problem in the format.
Right.
Enhance commit for your move to get +X speed and then +X damage is really, really nasty. It is appropriately costed. It's a 2/4 with a 3 mid block, but this card
Right.
is if you can find 2 or 3 of these, like not even just like this card accidentally kills you, it's string decks don't work against creepy realization. They just don't.
Right.
And so like it is rough. It is really, really rough. So the fact that you have spotted that creepy realization is like the main tool of the deck, you are 100% correct.
Right.
So
Right.
moving
And
on. Oh, go ahead.
yep. Oh no. By all means, go ahead.
Moving on. Let's just talk about the attack lineup. Right.
Sure.
I think the attack lineup is great. Eat My Sticky Balls and Tongue Whip are like mandatory inside of the deck.
Right.
Amphibious Ambush feels really, really good. I like Sticky Ball Toss Tackle as a way to make that guaranteed damage happen on the water symbol without playing
Exactly.
the extra 2-check of Tape Swing. Great Brush Attack is the only thing that I'm a little iffy on. Can you pitch me on Great Brush Attack?
Sure. Yeah. So remember how I mentioned I don't know how the hell I'm gonna kill people.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, maybe putting Great Punch Attack. Honestly, it being a two check kind of sucks. But okay, it's 8 damage, 4 mid. Has powerful 2, allows me to pick back up my sticky balls. Able to like. I know he's a 5-hand sizer, so like ideally, again, you're not really trying to like string attacks like you're a
Right.
7-hand sizer, but it at least allows me to try to go for like those end of game kills. But because like without this, I'm really like okay, like I'm really just really getting chip damage per se, and I know like with this Mineta specifically, I do want to play slower anyway. But just through playtesting, I have found times where I'm just like, damn, I can't get any damn damage out. So
Right.
that's my pitch for it, but. Again, I don't know if it's good. I don't know if there's better options, but yeah.
So the pros and cons of this card are pretty extreme, right? The pro to this card is not itself, but is the threat of making my 5-hand size character into a 9-hand size character, right? If you
Right,
do decide
right.
to block this and I add 4 Eat My Sticky Balls to my hand, I'm just gonna play them all. Right?
Yeah.
I'm now a 9-hand size character that has like a really solid defense ability on the card. And so like this card feels really good in that, but otherwise that just probably means they're probably not going to block it, and so it's just an 8 damage move. and that's fine.
Right.
Everybody can take one of these and then just
True.
worry about the rest of everything else, right? It's kind of like
Yeah.
that classic Sero issue, right? Of all right, you found one tape swing. You get that one, but the next one I might actually have to deal with. And so
Right.
I don't necessarily love this card. I would rather it probably just be tape swing because it's going to get you more value on board. It can become that kill condition later as long as you have not spent all your momentum all in your enhance. But it does not get you the value of Magical Christmas Land of they blocked the Great Brush attack because they're ultra scared, and you get to pick up as many sticky balls as possible. And so there is the trade off, right? And that's what you have to figure out with testing. I would just take in your sideboard. I would just take however many Great Brush attacks you decide to play, and just put a bunch of tape tosses or tape swings in there as well.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Sticky ball toss tackle. I think this card is super cool for what you're doing with it. I like it in the main board. If I can't convince you to cut 2 of it for a Frozen Breaker 2 card that Todoroki plays.
Oh, right.
Whatever that card
I know
is
exactly
called.
which one you're talking about. Forgot to. But I know which one you're talking about.
I have to say it for the YouTube videos so that people know.
Oh,
I just
of course.
begging chat, help me out. Ice Storm, yes, obviously. Who could forget about Ice Storm?
Oh yeah, how did I forget? That's like my favorite. Actually, my favorite card.
That card with Mineta, if you have a momentum, so tape Mineta Ice Storm.
That's true.
Such a
Holy shit! You just blew my mind.
crazy combo.
I just thought
dude.
about that.
It's so BM. Like you tape, and they're like, "Ah, man, a plus ultra's coming. I guess this one didn't work."
Right.
And then you Mineta, and they go, "Huh? I guess my next one's got +2 difficulty, huh?"
Right.
Oh man, did you stuffed one up into my card pool, and then you sticky balls to me?
So now it's like 3. It's like 3 cards essentially in their card pool just off that one play.
I guess my turn's over, huh? You got me there.
That's pretty good.
But with that, like I've lost my momentum, so that means that my tape swing is not going to be quite as live, right? And it's tough. If they block everything, then that play's not possible, which is why the sticky ball toss tackle is here to begin with. Is like snapping that momentum. So like these are really tough choices, and I think it's going to be all based on actually getting to the grind and playing it. Just because I don't have the Mineta to practice, I think that like your sideboard needs to be about 30 cards. And that's like the best advice that I could give you as you're playing this deck. But those are choices. I would actually, and this is some advice for everybody as they're learning set 2 and like learning to play the game, and we're all exploring the new meta together. I would take and play a lot more 2-ofs of attacks inside of your main board, and play way less 4-ofs.
Okay.
Right, like
just to kind of get a feel, right?
Just to get a feel of like, man, I'm playing my Grasp Tape Toss at a 3-of because, I mean, we all know Grasp Tape Toss is just a good ass card, right?
Right.
We know that, and so maybe make it a 3-of, and maybe we make Tongue Whip a 3-of, and maybe your deck's a little less consistent killing people, right? You lose some games because you didn't quite get there, but like you felt really good about these niche choices that we make because of us expanding our card pool. It's very easy just to jam a bunch of 4-ofs in set 1 because we're limited on options, but as soon as set 2, set 3 comes out, and we have cards that are, I was going to say that are as valuable as Tongue Whip in our deck, but in Mineta 2, that's not true. There's Tongue Whip is you ask how do we kill people? Is Tongue Whip as our 5th card.
Right.
That's how we kill people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but as soon as you start getting these bigger options, it's gonna be crazy, especially with your foundation lineup. I hate 4-ofs in universes. I hate it. I don't think 4-ofs are very good. You will catch me playing maybe 2 or 3 foundations at the absolute most at a 4-of, and they better
awesome.
Be damn good. Everything else is all 3s, 2s, and 1s. Actually.
So can you break down the logic behind that for me? Just because like obviously for me, like I'm coming from a game, like I played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! And like obviously in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like you have your main cards, you want to max them out because obviously consistency, right? So what is the idea in universes as to why, unless the card is like really damn good, where I guess like in this deck, for example, Creepy Realization, that would be a 4-of. How do you distinguish what is a 4-of, what is a 3-of?
When I look at Gotcha, right? Gotcha's like Like, what is the difference between having 4 of this card on board and having 3 of this card on board?
True.
Right?
That is true. Because how often are you going to get it to resolve? And
correct. And so with the once again with the draw 1 games of Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Dragon Ball, Final Fantasy has a draw 2 mechanic. Flesh and Blood has a draw 4, but you like discard your hand in order to play defense. You're drawing up to 5 new cards every turn. What's the likelihood? What's the statistics that you're going to draw a gotcha?
Right.
With my draw 5, not to mention any other draws that exist in obviously we don't have them under the water symbol because we're not playing the draw 2 and we're not playing self-assured, but like this is a draw 5, sometimes a draw 7 game, right?
Right.
We are looking at All Might as a draw 8 game.
Yeah.
I don't need to be more consistent with these choices. I'm allowed to spread out and make my deck more powerful versus more things because, I mean, once gotcha's on the board, it stays there, right?
Yeah.
Once Desperate Time goes on, once Classmate goes on the board, it stays there. Rescue completed until I just decide to get rid of it or my opponent interacts with it. It stays there. With cards like Tape and Desperate Times and Sticky Balls, I could totally see wanting to play more of them. Maybe not Sticky Balls because of the unique keyword, but I mean the card's insane in your deck.
Right.
Wall Cling, we want to see more of it because we want to see more of it. But like, Wall Cling's one of the best foundations in the entire game. Why is it not a 4-of in your deck?
So my rationale behind it was just because of it being a 4 check. I don't know if that's. I mean, obviously because it's really powerful, that's why it can't be a 5. I'd assume.
Right.
But that's kind of my mindset behind it. I was thinking of bumping that up to 4, and I was also thinking of the Todoroki Foundation as well. Irrefutable Force of Nature. I know how good that card is as well. I'm also not playing that's in water, right?
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer. I was just trying to think like what would I take out to put in. But yeah, to answer your question about Walkling, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It should be a 4. I was just thinking like, what else should I take out? Because I know with the previous deck doctor, you guys were talking about like, and you brought up the good point. This is not a draw 1 game. It's okay if you're over 50, if you're 51, if you're 52. How big of a difference is that? And like I was just thinking, I'm like, you know what? That's right. Like, why if I add another Walkling in here and get 4 and my deck is 51, am I really gonna lose? If anything, I'm probably gonna win more games being able to block that 1 attack with that Walkling, right? So hearing you talk about that really like got my mind thinking. So to answer your question, yeah, I don't know why it's not a 4 of. It should be.
The water symbol has so many good, useful, playable foundations and so many good, useful situations that like Tape's a 4 of, Creepy Realization's a 4 of. The other ones, they don't have to be, right? Like if you cut these, I mean that's 2 more foundations that you get to now have access to and keep your stats at 40. You want to play Irrefutable Force of Nature, cut 1 Surviving, cut 1 Gotcha, as long as your spam count's still okay, let it rip, right? You can cut Classmates. What's the difference between 2 Classmates and 3 Classmates, right?
Yeah,
cut it down to a 2 of maybe, and then now you get to play with these other numbers, right? Things like Sticky Balls, things like that like are so potent that like you want to see Sticky Balls on turn 2, on turn 3, on turn 4, on turn 5, and so playing it at the max copies makes sense. But your character is actually already Sticky Balls, and so
so that's what I wanted to
quadruple down, right? And so that's the question, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what my next question was going to be. Like, because Sticky Balls, obviously, it's a really good card. We're able to get the -4 speed. But then also, if I'm in that situation where I'm like, okay, I want to get that extra clog in the card pool, boom, I can do that too. And then I was also like, okay, like maybe I play 2 Sticky Balls, 2 Rescue completed. I can side the other Sticky Balls if I know they're not playing range, put that in, like that was my mindset.
Yeah.
So but then again, I'm like, it is the unique keyword. But then obviously, if we are going to flip it and then clog their card pool, then we can always play another one, right? So I do think it might be worth playing 4. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. I agree. And with this, like with you playing like a strict 50 cards, like you're missing out on things like Frozen, right? You're missing out on things like which like destroy that face down Sticky Balls, put it back in your discard pile. Whenever you cycle, you get to go find it again. So maybe you're not playing 4 of it. Now you're playing 8 of it because they all went back into your deck, right?
Right.
And so with the bigger deck that with more foundations, we now get to play more attacks, and the more attacks means that we get to play things like Frigid Heatwaves. And so now we've solved our 5 hand size problem, and because now we're a 7-hander for 1 turn because we've played the game enough, right? The only non-range attacks are just Sticky Balls. Everything else is ranged.
Yep. Sticky ball toss tackle. Yep.
And then if we
Everything else
decide
is
to take Sticky
range.
Ball Toss tackle down to a 2 of and we're playing 2 Ice Storm, then that's even more range that we play.
Yeah.
And so like there's definitely some pros in a more control deck like Mineta to play more cards so that you have more options, so you have more control over every aspect of the game, as opposed to playing like a Toko. This is a bad example. A Froppy, right? Froppy is very linear. She wants to kill you, and making sure that you see your 4-ofs. The difference between 4 Amphibious and 3 Amphibious is literally 2 foundations in Froppy. Sorry, 3 foundations in Froppy, 4 foundations in Froppy because of Atsui being able to ready itself as well. That's a deck that I want to play 50 tight, and because like seeing those 4-ofs is so impactful because I literally have one game plan. It's go. But I don't think Mineta 2 is that deck. I think
No, he's a lot slower.
We want to play slower, which means we need more options, which means that we need to see more things. We need more attacks that are relevant, right? And it's okay to sit here and sculpt, right? Your main win condition for this game is going to be Tongue Whip. That is it.
Yeah.
Until if we decide to put in Tape Swing over Great Brush, which is I think just a thing that you should test, which I will go We'll put those in the sideboard real quick. So we're gonna put 2 of these in our sideboard. We're gonna put 2 of we have missed it. We are gonna put 2 of these in our sideboard, and we are going to just see. So we got both of these in our sideboard, so you get to mess around with them.
Yeah.
And I like the inclusion of Amphibious Ambush in order to snap our momentum in case it doesn't happen, right? Like they full block Great Brush attack, and we just jam it in there. That feels good.
Also being able to get another card in their card pool as well.
It means that Tongue Whip and Creepy are more relevant. They're more live.
Yep. Yeah. I guess my last question for you then would be, I know we want to play a more slower playstyle with Mineta, with this specific Mineta as well. But being a 5-hand sizer, like how should I approach the game with this type of deck as well, right? By playing with only 5 cards in my hand. Obviously, I'm not a deck where I have 7 cards. I'm going to be stringing a lot of attacks. Am I just poking? Am I just trying to play that long game because I have that 31 life and kind of like really muck up the game?
So if you look at Mineta's character, right, and have you... Not to plug my own videos too crazy hard, but have you seen the 4 jobs of cards that I did?
No, I have not. But let me pull that up right now.
I believe that every card has at least one of these 4 jobs. You have aggro cards, you have defense cards, you have flow cards, you have disruption cards. Aggro cards kill your opponent. Defense cards keep you alive. Flow cards make your deck work better, and then disruption cards make your opponent's deck work worse. On your face, you have a disruption ability and you have a defense ability. And so the rest of your kit needs to be aggro and flow, right? And so playing things like Grasping Tape Toss is a very aggro card because it has the throw keyword. It is for sure going to deal damage. If you played 100 Grasping Tape Tosses, eventually you will kill everybody in the game. If you could play 4 Grasping Tape Toss and 4+ Ultra and you could get away with that, you would, because it puts them on a clock and they will eventually die. Eat My Sticky Balls is another flow card because it adds a card into the card pool, because Tongue Whip is our aggro card. It's the one that kills you. So Eat My Sticky Balls flows into Tongue Whip. Amphibious is a flow card and a disruption card, right? Or it could be a flow and a flow because we add a card to our momentum. We've cleared our card pool. We've grabbed a momentum so that our powerful is good, so that our deck works better, so that we stuff a card because the Tongue Whip's going to be crazier. This is another aggro card because it just gets a bunch of damage. It's a bit of a disruption card because it forces them to block after you've lost your 2 health, right? Man, I'm not allowed to commit 2 foundations. I guess I'm forced to do a thing. Okay, my Tongue Whip's going to be bigger then. My Creepy Realization is going to be bigger. And so understanding what my deck wants to do based on those 4 roles is really, really good. We look at a card like Ice Storm, and Ice Storm fills 2 of these main categories. This is a disruptive card, and this is a aggro card. This card is powerful 3. It says that half of a third of the attacks a third of the cards in my opponent's deck don't work, and it's got a 2 mid-block breaker 2. This card plays a lot of roles. But at the same, or you look at Evil Gaze. Evil Gaze is like the best example of why I think it is the best. Is the best main set ultra rare, is because it fulfills 3 of the jobs. It is an aggro card. It gives +2 speed. It's a defense card. It gives -2 speed. It's a disruption card. It blows up foundations. It's a disruption card. It has breaker 1. It has deadlock pressure, so it forces my opponent to play a different way. That's another disruption ability. Like, this card checks as many of those boxes as possible. The only thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't flow. As soon as we have a character that says, if I've lost vitality or if I've lost health this turn, get a bonus, it's going to be a flow card for that character. That card's going to be insane because it checks off every single box. It does every single job. And so the question of how do I play Mineta 2, the answer is slowly. Because his character, the one card you start the game with is not a fast card. You are not Froppy.
Right.
Froppy is a flow aggro character. I am clearing cards from my card pool for flow, and I'm giving +2 speed. I am readying 1 foundation for free because I get to re-ready it back at my face. That's it. That's what my character does. She gets a niche little thing whenever she blocks with ranged attacks, but if you're blocking with ranged attacks, that means you're not killing your opponent next turn.
Right.
So, like, the answer is, how do I play a 5 hand size control character? Slowly. You just play it slowly. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was a perfect explanation. Honestly, like, I took notes. that was really, really good. Because I do tend to, especially as like a new player, it's very attractive to see high numbers and want to do damage, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I find myself like doing that, and then it's like, oh, I didn't kill them. Oh, I can't do anything now. Oh, I lost. You know, it's like those 3 steps. And so, like, understanding that concept, honestly, like, I'm so disappointed I didn't see that video sooner, because what you explained is actually so good. And I think not only will that help me continue to like craft this Mineta deck, but I think that advice is going to help me with all of my decks, period, going forward. So thank you for that, honestly.
Unbelievably flattering.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Was definitely not fishing for a compliment whenever that started. But that's just like my mentality when it comes to deck building and comes to evaluating cards, right? Like, you look at surviving the final, and this is just a defense card, right? That's all this card does. But it's also a flow card because it's a 0 diff.
Right, and it's spam, right? Because I was also thinking, like, if I do take out gotcha, like I drop one of the gotchas, and like it would be good to have more spam. Then I think it's also high block as well. I know it's a 3 high block, but yeah, I think I was lacking on that when I was like looking at my block zone. So I was like, oh, maybe it's not the worst, but yeah.
You have 14-15 currently in the deck that I have, right?
Yeah,
which is about to change if you decide to take out these Great Pressure decks, because it's a low and swing is a high. Yeah. I think the goal is for this Mineta deck is honestly just throws. I think that I personally value Tape Swing more than I value Great Pressure Tag, but in Magical Christmas Land, if we happen to get them down to 8 health, right, we're just gonna pick up all the Eat My Sticky Balls, which is gonna feel great. But then as a 5 hand size character, we have to be able to play 4 more attacks, which also does not feel amazing because we didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
We're not building that fast. But at the same time, my opponent's not building that fast because every turn or every other turn, I'm debuilding them by 1 as long as I can play an attack. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. Amazing.
A quick look through the foundations. I think the biggest thing that I would do with your foundation wise, if you want to keep your deck closer to 50, is take out some of these 4-ofs, right? Surviving, gotcha. Honestly, even tape, since we're not even playing like plus ultra, right? And I would only leave creepy in at the 4-of, and I would just like expand, and see how razor thin you can make your coverage, right? And like having a board of like 8. I use the word unique foundations. Right? Is gonna make you better than like Desperate Times is a fine card, but like it we want to see this one in pairs, but Classmates we don't need to see in pairs, right? We don't need to see in pairs. I feel better when I have more tapes on the board, but what's the difference between 4 tapes and 3 tapes? Right? Like I would rather have a different option on the board, something like Frozen, something like Irrefutable, and you can just look through. I don't know. Has Sero's foundations been looked at all? Not Sero 1, but Sero 2.
Sero 2? No.
Or the Todoroki
we only
foundation.
Have
we don't have any. We have one stun.
Stun.
Yeah, that card's just kidding.
Foundation.
Yeah, it's a Sideboard card, baby.
I'm looking forward to. I think because I think somebody pointed out in one of your streams that we're probably only getting the one foundation and the one attack for Mineta in this set, just because of like how the card numbers work.
Okay.
Um,
Is
so
that hold up? 94, 96. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, hopefully the new attack like that he gets is pretty good, and I can slot that in there. In terms of Frigid Heat Wave, I know you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I had copies of that card. Like, I was looking to pick some up because like I'm super excited for Dobby. We don't know what the hell he does yet, but like he's one of my favorite characters, so I'm gonna build him anyways. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming obviously Dobby's gonna have the fire symbol, and that's a really really good card in fire. And so I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Let me see if I can pick up a playset. Realize it's sold out. Realize like the cheapest one is like $50, $45. I was like, God damn.
Yeah,
I wish I had that card.
Yeah, I got the last 3 from Rochester at 33, I think.
Jeez, nice. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Very happy with it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that for a while. I'll tell you that one.
All right, dude. Any final thoughts on Mineta? Mineta 2?
No, honestly, awesome input. Like I said, I really like the Ice Storm. Like I had a mind blow moment when you talked about the Ice Storm using Mineta's effect, or sorry, his enhance to be able to block. Then their Breaker 2, adding a card to their card pool, so they're basically Breaker 3 for a turn.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm definitely gonna take your advice in terms of dropping some of my attack lineups from like the 4 of, put it to 3, test some other stuff, see how that feels, and then like you said, yeah, the difference between 3 tape and 4 tape, dropping surviving the final to maybe 3, and test out some more foundations so I can have more, in air quotes, like unique foundations to at least like spread out my game so I can play like the irrefutable force of nature, the frozen, things like that. So yeah, I got a lot of work to do, but honestly, this is definitely worth it.
Here's the last piece that I'll send you. I want you to make 2 versions of this deck. I want you to make a like 22 to 24 attack version of the deck, and I want you to push yourself up to 60 cards. And see what happens. Right? And play this 50 card deck, enjoy it, love it, take notes on it, see how you feel, and then push it up to 60 with just like keep the attack lineup relatively the same numbers and watch what happens. Realize that you're not going to be playing 3-4 attack strings every single turn, because that's like not how the numbers work. But your attacks are going to be more impactful. Your foundation is going to be more impactful, and because you're playing these throws, you're going to get there eventually. Your opponent,
I'm going to do damage. Yeah.
Our goal is to drag this game out to turn 9 because we're debuilding my opponent, auto blocking one of their moves, and constantly having our momentum for blocks. Right? Like that's the goal with the deck. And so like we're here for a long time, not a good time.
Exactly. That's the fun with this deck for sure. All right, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the support on Patreon. And hey, where can they maybe find some neat My Hero content if anybody else is looking for some?
Well, I mean, of course, definitely. If they're watching your Twitch, they should definitely check out your YouTube channel. I mean, that goes without saying. You could definitely find some dope content there. But if you also want to find some of my content, obviously just search up Some for All. MHA, you guys will be able to find out some of that stuff. New player, so I'm still learning, still going through the motions. But yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with the game and hoping to continue to make content.
Perfect. And I am dropping this in the chat right now. Everybody, please, if you have not, go and subscribe to the man. It would
appreciate it.
I would love to see his number skyrocket. With that,
yes, sir. Yes,
I'll,
thank you. All right.
I will catch you next time. Okay, buddy?
Yep. Take it easy. Have a good night, man.
Peace.